Hi there. This is Liza from Imagine If Columbia Falls, and you're at home with Imagine If because we're all at home, right? Because we're flattening that curve. But if you're at home with kiddos, which you probably are if you're watching this video, then sometimes you might feel kind of like they're flattening you. I do sometimes. So I wanted to make a video today more for the caregivers, more for the grown-ups, to help you with some techniques and strategies to help your little one and yourself calm down when things get kind of overwhelming. So in a moment, I'm going to show you some yoga poses, about 5 yoga poses. I'm going to do that with my daughter. And then we're going to do some mindfulness techniques also with my daughter Lily. And then I'm going to give you some tools for self-soothing, which work well for adults and for kids. And then I'll show you a neat tool, which is it's called a calm down jar, and I'll show you how to make one of these, and it's a really neat little tool. All right, so come with me and we'll do some yoga.
Hi, my name is Zoe and I'm going to teach you some yoga poses. Yoga is really fun because it's after you've done it, you feel very relaxed and it's really nice. We do Cosmic Kids Yoga at school, and that's a very fun site because you get an adventure as well as yoga.
All right, so I'm going to start Lily off with bee's breath. So that's a standing pose. It's a good easy focusing pose for little ones. So standing with your feet apart and your arms, you reach your arms up and then drop your hands down to your shoulders. And with your elbows out nice and straight, so drop them down a little bit, drop your elbows down a little bit, really nice. And that's your little wings, and then you turn, and you remember to breathe in and out, and you can even buzz as you're... Nice. All right, thanks Lily. And our next pose is cloud pose. So deciding to take what's bothering us and just being able to let it go can be very empowering for a child who's feeling super helpless. So it's a good way to scoop up what's bothering you, all that frustration, and then just reach it up and let it go. So if you can name the thing that's bothering you as you scoop it up, that can be even better. So for this one, it also starts with feet apart. You inhale, so breathe in and bend your knees and scoop up all of that frustration and stretch it up to the sky. And let it go. And breathe out as you let it go. And again, so bend your knees, scoop up all the stuff, and then reach it up and breathe out, let it go. All right, thanks Lily. And our next one is tree pose. So often a shift of focus can really help with frustration and anger, and the concentration that you require to balance can really get you out of your head and back into your body. So for this one, standing up, and for this one you're actually going to start sort of with your feet together. You become long and tall in your spine and rest one foot against your leg, against your calf, nice. And you can either put your hands in front of you, in front of your chest, palms together, or up above you like branches of a tree. And then you take a nice deep breath in and out. Good. And Lily's going to show you some variations too.
So there are variations. You can use both feet. You can also put your foot on here if you don't want to balance as much. Or you can put your foot way up here.
For a wobbly tree.
Oh,
so it gets harder. It gets harder. You can pick your level of challenge depending on your age and how you, yeah.
But you shouldn't put your foot on your knee because that damages your knee.
Okay, thanks Lily. And then we're going to show you a couple of sitting down poses. I'm going to shift my camera a little bit. Excuse me. All right. Here we go. So, not quite. There we go. So, we're going to do cat and cow, and this is one of Lily's favorites, right, Lily?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so for this one, you're going to start on your knees. And this one is all about moving to help you change the way that you're feeling. So on your hands and knees, you're going to inhale, breathe in and look up. And you're going to stretch one leg out behind you. That's your cat tail. Good. And then as you exhale, you're going to swoop in and you're going to try and touch your head to your knee. That's your cow, I think. And then, good. And then out again as you inhale and then exhale. Yeah, and you can switch your legs after. Breathing in and then out. Good. In and out. Awesome. Thanks, Lily. And then our last one we're going to show you is child's pose. And this one is a sort of a self-soothing. In a yoga class, the child's pose is your resting pose. And it's curling up has a great calming effect on your whole system. So for this one, you're going to start on your hands and knees again. And then you're going to press back to sit on your heels. And then you're going to drop your chest to the top of your thighs, and you can stretch your arms out in front of you like that, or you can tuck them in by your sides, or like Lily's doing, you can kind of curl them around your feet. And this pose, and you remember to breathe in and out like nice long deep breaths. This can be really comforting for little ones, or for big ones who just need to take a moment. All right, well thank you. That's great, Lily. And then the next thing we want to show you, if you come up to a sitting, and we're going to show you a couple of mindfulness techniques. So again, this is all about getting your mind focused and out of our busy brains and back into our bodies. So we're going to show you the 5-finger meditation. So if you put your hand up like that, Lily, great. And point your finger up, and you're going to swoop your finger around. Good, around all of those 5 fingers. Some people call this a mountain. You're climbing the mountain. And as you do this, you're going to breathe in and out. Nice. And it's hard to do this without focusing. So focusing on your hand is a great way to stop focusing on those big feelings that might be feeling a bit overwhelming. So this is a great calming strategy for little ones. Cool, thanks, Lily. And then the next one we're going to do involves a buddy. So Lily's going to introduce us to the little buddy right here.
This is Hannah. She's a very fuzzy bear and she's really cute.
Yeah, so for this one,
you can hug her.
For this one, your little one will need a buddy, a breathing buddy. Cool, good. And Lily's going to show us. We're going to lie down, and you're going to put your little breathing buddy on your belly. And this is a great way of helping your little one to recognize what's happening when they take really big, deep breaths. And they can watch their little breathing buddy, because their little buddy is going to go up and down as they go up and down. And it can be really fun and funny for little ones, and so it can be a great way to relax and calm down. Cool. And while we're down here, we may as well do another meditation, which is a squish and relax. So again, helping our little ones recognize all the different things going on in their bodies. And it also helps with naming body parts. I'm going to ask Lily to squish and then relax different parts. We're going to start down at your toes, Lily. So will you squish up your toes, your feet? Good. And then you're going to breathe in as you do that, squish, and then breathe out, relaxing. Breathe in, squish your legs. Breathe out, relax them. And then breathe in, squish up your belly. And breathe out, relax that. And you can breathe in and squish up your bum. And breathe out, relax. Breathe in, squish up your chest. Breathe out, relax that. Breathe in, squish up your shoulders. Breathe out, relax. Breathe in, squish up your arms. Breathe out, relax. Breathe in, squish up your hands. Breathe out, relax. Good. Nice. Oh, we're even getting a yawn. Feeling pretty relaxed there, Lily?
Yep.
Ready for sleeping. All right. Well, thank you, Lily. And and we'll move on to our next little part. Okay, so self-soothing next. That's anything that we do to help ourselves calm down. So some people count to 10, which is a great strategy, especially for big people. For little people, maybe not so much if counting is tricky already. Sometimes it's just the big deep breath, or whatever you use. But any time that we're sharing those strategies with our little ones, we're coaching them and we're modeling for them that this is something it's okay to do. It's not just what kids do, but it's what grown-ups do, and we're giving them basically lifelong good habits. So self-soothing, a couple of things that can work really well for little ones because they're real physical is the self-hug, where they squeeze themselves really tight. You'll notice that when you're, one way that you can get your little one to calm down often is to give them a really tight hug, tight squeeze, so they can do that for themselves too. So that can work. Another one that's going to feel a little funny or look a little funny is the tapping the top of your head. It's researched, evidence-based. I don't know why it works, but it really does. I think it's centering. It focuses your mind on something. So that's another one that little kids can do. And if you teach them these strategies and you see them doing this, then it's also you're kind of creating a loop where you can then know, oh, they need to calm down, they might need some help. So that's useful. The third thing I wanted to share was a strategy that was given to me by my daughter's preschool teacher, Miss Deanne, who was wonderful. When Lily was about 3, she used to have big emotional meltdowns. So she had all the big feels and she couldn't manage them. And so Miss Deanne said, create a spot in your home that is going to be the reset spot. Or some people call it like a time in spot. So instead of stepping away, because a lot of us, when our child starts to have a big tantrum, it's really overwhelming and you just want to step away. Or, I certainly did. But what I found, and on the advice of this wonderful preschool teacher, was if I said to my daughter, do you need a hug, when she would start melting down, that she would always say yes, and that I would just hold her close. And as soon as I had her close, my heart rate would go down, her heart rate would go down, and we would gradually get ourselves back to a spot where we could talk and communicate, because they lose their language. Once they've started melting down, all their language is gone. It's kind of too late for reasoning. That's the time for holding on. But the reset spot was great because Lily didn't have to wait for me to say, do you need a hug? She could just take me by the hand and lead me to our little reset spot, which was our big bed in our house. And not her bed, but my bed. And she would just hug me and hold me until we were ready. So the reset spot is another neat strategy. So the last thing I wanted to share with you is this calm down jar. So this is another thing that I learned from Miss Deanne at Lily's preschool. You'll see these are all over the internet. You can find all kinds of complicated recipes to make them really beautiful. And if have at it. But I'm going to show you this one's really simple. The way you can use this, and the way I used it with there's also many ways to use it. This is just the way that I used it with my daughter, is, if after we had our time in, we had our hug, I could say, should we sit with the calming jar? And this takes about 2 minutes to settle back down. So right now we can, and I used to talk to my daughter about this. This is us when we're in a good state. Everything's kind of just chill, calm. But sometimes our emotions get a little turned upside down and you see the stuff starts to swirl a little bit, and then sometimes our emotions just get out of control. And that's the point. You can't, it's not clear anymore. You can't see your way through. So at that point, that's the time that you need to take a little bit of time for yourself. So we would just swirl it up and remind ourselves this is our emotions, and then we'd set it down. And it takes about 1 minute to get fairly clear and 2 minutes to get completely clear. So that's a good amount of time for a little one to just, and like I said, it's a time in. I would be with her for all of this. It's not a punishment. This was always something that was very comforting to her. But I'm going to show you, it's going to take about 2 minutes to settle down. I'll put it over there maybe I'll put it back here so you can see it. But I'm going to show you how to make one of these. You're going to need clear glue. You're going to need warm water not hot because you might melt your receptacle, and some glitter. Fine glitter works the best, but any glitter will do, but fine glitter is nice and swirls really nicely. And a hot melt glue gun, which is a little bit out of frame right now, but this, there you go, hot melt glue gun to seal this bottle closed. So I just got, this is an old juice bottle that I just washed out, it's still wet, but you can use a mason jar, a glass jar. My daughter actually started with a glass one of these, and even though she was 3, it wasn't a toy. We talked about it as being a tool, so something that she respected. So whatever your little one feels comfortable with, but any kind of sturdy container will work. So the first thing you need is your hot water. You're going to fill it about, all you're going to put in here is basically water and glue. So it's about 80% water to about 20% glue. That's about the ratio that you want. So I guess I'll just... It's kind of calming, right? Like a waterfall. I'm going to say that's about 80%. I might top it up with a little bit of water at the end. We'll see. But into your hot water, you're going to add your glitter. About a teaspoon worth total. I'm not going to measure. I'm not much of a measurer. I might put it in the lid first. There we go. So a little bit in the lid. If you put too much glitter, then it'll be cloudy for longer. So a little bit of glitter is actually a little better than too much. Good. See that? Too much. I'm going to put just some of that in. Put that back. Yeah. Making a mess. And I actually add a little bit more green because I don't think I added enough green. There we go. And see how this, actually I'm in the way here, but this is at its fairly clear stage. It's going to get more clear. All right, then I've got, you can use whatever you've got to stir it up with, obviously. Long-handled spoon, chopstick. I'm using a, what do they call this? Like a bamboo skewer that we use on the grill. This is important, the stirring it up stage. If it stays clumpy when you put the glue in, it'll kind of always be a bit clumpy. So give it a good stir. All right, that's pretty good. And then you're going to add your glue. And again, about 20% glue. So depending on what size, I'm not giving you measurements because it depends on what size your jar is. Pour this so you can actually see it. And you can just pour this right in. All right, and one important thing is you want some headspace in your jar. This is probably a little bit too much space. This one is pretty good, maybe not quite enough, but you want a little bit so that it'll be able to roll around all the stuff. So again, stir it really well because clumps will be hard to disperse just by shaking it. So stir really well. Stir. And I'm actually feeling at this point like that's not as, See, I like the swirl of this one, so I'm going to add a little bit more glitter. Because however it looks at this stage is how it'll look, obviously, when it's all sealed up for good. All right. There you go. That's a little better, right? So once you the last thing to do is you're going to get your hot melt glue, which I actually don't have plugged in right now, so it's not going to work because I've got nowhere to plug it in. But you put a bead of hot melt glue inside of your lid all the way around, and fairly quickly before it hardens, put it on. Try not to cross the threads, try and get it nice and smooth, and seal it up. The hot melt glue just makes it so that this is never going to become a glitter water glue disaster in your child's bedroom. And then, yeah, and that's about it. And definitely talk with your little one about how it's a tool, not a toy, and how and why we use them. And I hope it's helpful. I hope that you can try some of these strategies, or that some of them will work for you, because these are challenging times. So yeah, and if you've got any other great strategies, maybe share them with us. Maybe write them in the comments, or maybe send us a quick email, and maybe if we have to do an update of this, I can share some of your great strategies too, because I didn't make any of these things up. They're all passed on to me by very wise caregivers. All right, so thank you for watching, and take care. Have a good day. Bye.